Welcome back, everyone. Hey, tomorrow night we're going to do a little something different. We're going to do a special report, the third of our presidential town hall interviews with 2024 presidential candidates. Tomorrow night we're going to have North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum. A lot of people may not know about him that well. He is a very thoughtful person, very substantive. I think you're going to enjoy the conversation. And I want to thank also not only Real America's Voice for making the time available, but also the Association of Mature American Citizens, or AMAC as you know them, for partnering with us on this great series. Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, right here in Real America's Voice. A great interview. You're going to enjoy it. All right. Our next guest has been at the helm of one of the most important, I think, transparency projects in America, teaching us what's been going on in America's campuses with a really liberal extremism, particularly anti-Semitism. He's the editor-in-chief at Campus Reform, and he penned a powerful op-ed titled, "It's Not Hyperbole, It's Real, Your Professors and Classmates Hate Jews." Lucky for us, he joins us right now to talk about that and so much more. Zachary Marschall, welcome to the show.
Great, thank you for having me.
Great op-ed. This is something that we've been trying to hit on this show regularly. This has been a boiling problem for a long time. Campus Reform done so much to highlight it. Tell us how bad this problem is and how we got there.
This problem has been festering and growing in higher education for the last 40 years. Over the past 2 generations, ever since critical theory and postmodernism became a thing in college campuses. So over the last 40 years, we have had liberal administrators, college presidents, college deans hire radical professors, and these liberal deans have capitulated their moral authority to the Marxists in the classrooms who are turning college seminars into indoctrination camps. They have been able to weaponize their anti-Semitism and their Jew hatred over 2 generations, and been able to teach activists, students who also don't dislike Jews, how to present their Jew hatred to polite society through the false mask of anti-Israel work. In every single conference, every single seminar, every single research paper authored by a leftist scholar that talks about Israel as an apartheid regime, that is work being done to camouflage their Jew hatred, because it's the way they can be anti-Semitic in polite society and exude and show off their so-called highbrow intellectualism.
Amazing.
Well, and Zachary, what's scary is it's not just the opinion that some professors or students may have on campus that's driving this. It's actual funding. I know that there are a list of universities who recently partnered with and received funding from a Palestinian university. I think it was Georgia State University, Kent State, University of Arizona. But like you said, this has been happening as far as the funding from Arab money going to Texas A&M, Penn State, George Washington University, MIT, the list goes on and on. So talk to us about that, because I know that there are alumni from those universities, and you can find the list online, probably at Campus Reform, and tell us if you can. And should alumni be calling up their universities saying, "Don't take this money"? How do we reverse this?
Yeah, absolutely. The answer to the problem is more accountability. There's absolutely no accountability or transparency about what's being taught in the classroom or what students are allowed to get away with their student activism and organizations. We see that clearly this week on college campuses as they cheer on Hamas terrorists and celebrate the slaughter of Jewish children. When it comes to funding from Arab countries, this goes back to the idea of being pro-Arab or being anti-Israel is a marker of your intelligence and sophistication in the academy. The same liberal academicians that are too weak or too indifferent to stand up to radical Marxists on campus are the same ones that are creating these relationships with partners in the Muslim world. It is to show their bona fides to a faculty who would vote them out if they weren't far left enough. Leadership Institute's Campus Reform has spent years reporting on the BDS divestment movement, on broken partnerships and protests over any kind of attempted collaboration with Israeli educational institutions, such as Hebrew University in Israel. So in addition to the trend you just pointed out, you also see one where there is pressure from students and tenure professors to remove universities from any ties to Israel.
Yeah, remarkable. Zachary, there is the overt anti-Semitism that is so prevalent, but there's also a second sin of commission, and that is silence. So many faculty, so many other students, so many school administrators have been silent for so long. In fact, it took Harvard's presidents days to respond to something that should have taken seconds to repudiate. How problematic is the silence? Is silence complicity in this moment?
Silence is deafening in this moment because it's an indictment on college administrators and college president and dean's weakness and complete cowardice. They are cowards, and people like Lauren Sumners, who expressed shock at what Harvard did this week, they're pathetic in the sense that this was happening under their noses. The radical anti-Semitism and radical activism against Jews has only grown under their leadership, and they are feigning ignorance at it. Either they are too indifferent about Jewish safety to care, or they can't admit the reality of what's going on because they can't admit it about themselves and about the people they choose to associate themselves with.
Yeah. And one of the most pitiful aspects of this is you have these uppity intellectual elites who are hashtag free Palestine. But as soon as Pershing Square CEO Bill Ackman says, give us the names, we're not going to hire them, they do a complete about-face, say, oh, we didn't read the document. They're a bunch of cowards.
They are completely a bunch of cowards, and they don't even sign their name to the document. So they know on some level that they're doing something morally wrong for, cheering on the destruction of Jewish bodies and the rape of women. I went to NYU. I graduated 12 years ago, which is where we just saw Rhino Workman, issue that statement on behalf of the Student Bar Association, commending Hamas. It's only gotten worse since I graduated. The culture that's been allowed to exist on college campuses and make people like Rhino feel comfortable has been there for years. And Jewish students, including myself when I was there, complained about it. And we were ignored. We've been ignored for years up until maybe Sunday. So this is a brand new revelation that I'm still getting used to, that people suddenly now care about Jews on campus.
Zachary, one thing we know, the way to fight an ill like this is the antiseptic of daylight, and you're doing that every day at Campus Reform. What a great honor to have you on. Keep up the great work. Folks, we'll be right back. We're going to continue the conversation with Alan Dershowitz. He's got a few thoughts on this right after these messages.